Welcome to episode 15 of the CountryLine Songwriter Series, where you'll hear from some of the most successful artists and songwriters working in Nashville today. Country music is all about storytelling, and this is where you'll discover the stories from the people themselves of how they managed to find their way into such a competitive industry and rise to the top, what motivates and inspires them, and what they've learnt along the way. Lady A formed after members Hilary Scott, Charles Kelly and Dave Haywood met in Nashville. After a few months of performing around the area, they signed with Capitol Nashville in 2007. The band's first single, Love Don't Live Here, peaked at number 3 on the country charts. A self-titled debut album followed in April of 2008, featuring the chart-topping single I Run To You, which also enjoyed crossover success as a top 40 pop hit. Within a year and a half, Lady A's debut had gone platinum and earned a Grammy nomination. The group enjoyed their newfound success while putting the finishing touches on a second album. Need You Now appeared in early 2010 and its title track became the band's highest charting song to date, topping the country charts and peaking at number 2 on the Billboard Hot 100. It eventually sold over 3 million copies. The album experienced similar success, going gold during its second week of release and reaching platinum status soon after. The band then took a break from recording a third studio album in order to attend the Grammys, where they took home 5 awards. Lady A's third studio album, 2011's Own the Night, generated a hit single right out the box. Just a Kiss, which became the trio's fastest rising single yet and crossed over, topping Billboard's Hot Adult Contemporary chart. Their next single, Dancing Away With My Heart, reached number 2 on Billboard's country chart. Lady A then released the holiday album On This Winter's Night in the fall of 2012. The record entered Billboard's top 10 upon its release and was certified gold in the US. In May of 2013, Lady A issued Golden, their 4th full-length studio album, preceded by the hit single Downtown. The album entered the Billboard charts at number 1. The trio quickly followed Golden with 747. In the fall of that year, the record's first single, Bartender, became a top 10 smash prior to the album's release. 747 also produced 2 other modest hits, Freestyle and Long Stretch of Love. Lady A took a hiatus in 2016 with Charles Kelly and Hilary Scott both pursuing individual solo projects. They returned in the summer of 2017 with the soft, mellow, Busby-produced Heartbreak, which was nominated for a Grammy Award. The band returned to Ireland to perform at Dublin's 3 Arena in October of 2017, which is when they chatted with myself, Stuart Banford.
The CountryLine Songwriter Series with Lady A.
From first hand, how do the audiences differ over here?
You know, we'll have people come through the meet and greets and they're, talking about songs off the new record like Hurt or Somebody Else's Heart. Mm-hmm. And, not to say that, there aren't diehard fans in the States that, of course, know all the songs off the record, but not to this level. I feel like when you come over, to places like Dublin, the fans that are coming to your show are so diehard and so excited to see you that it's almost like they go and do their research and they know who wrote the songs. I think that's what, to me, it kind of opens up the amount of songs that you can really start digging in and doing. That's why we've catered our set list completely different, more like, diving into some of the newer songs and it's less cover songs. It's a lot of fun.
We pour our heart and soul into every single track on every record. And so it's not just the songs that get put on the radio. So I think to feel that love and that investment from the fans here is just really, it's a real amazing feeling.
Obviously, you've got Brett Young and Kelsey Ballerini out on the road with you. And looking back over the past couple of tours, it seems as though anybody who tours with you guys then goes on to become a massive country star. But these guys, they really are superstars waiting to happen. And Kelsey's well on her way, isn't she?
She came through our meet and greet as a fan of ours when she was 13 years old. So we were at CMA Music Festival in Nashville, Tennessee, and this was probably 2009, 8, somewhere around there. And obviously we didn't know at the time, so we got on tour together, and Kelsey showed us this picture earlier this year. She's like, I got my picture with you guys. I was 13, y'all had just started, had a few songs out, and yeah, we did. We definitely felt old, but man, it's been great to watch her star rise. I mean, she is on fire. And Brett, I mean, we really tour with people we love. We try to handpick artists we love and we believe in, and we believe in their music. And Brett's no exception. I mean, his first few songs have been killing it in the U.S., and I'm excited for people to see him here. And again, it's fun. This is their first time, I believe, playing in Dublin. So for us, that's a big honor. You know, we had that role underneath people like Keith Urban and some other artists that took us to different places in Australia and things like that. So for us to help introduce Ireland to these two superstars is really a big honor for us.
You know, obviously life's changed quite significantly. You're all married now, you've got kids. How has life on the road changed over the years?
It's really funny. I mean, backstage, especially in the States, you know, when we've got this caravan of tour buses and stuff, and immediately there's kiddie pools. Every time you walk out of your bus, you know, somebody's got the kids out there, and you know, it's a traveling family circus. And you know, but it's funny, the minute we put our kids to bed and we all kind of, you know, get into our little hangout room, we call it Club Labellum, and just start laughing and goofing off and getting ready for the show, not much has changed. You know, it still feels like summer camp, but it's funny. It's like, I don't know why. It just, this business keeps you feeling young, even though you're not. You feel like I still feel like I'm in my 20s out here on the road, although the hangovers are a lot harder to deal with. But it's the greatest job, and we still enjoy it and appreciate it. And I think a little bit of that break, you know, we took a couple years ago was, I think, to even gain more of an appreciation that we have now. And kids really put it all into perspective too. You know, there are times where I was like, oh man, maybe we made a wrong song choice here, or made a mistake here. We could be a little bit bigger, or this. And kids kind of make you go life into perspective so much where, like, now I'm just like, I can't imagine being in any different scenario than we are right now. I'm loving where life is for us as a band and in my family. And I don't know, it's just a nice place to be. So I think that's kind of the state that we're in now. Is like, we've been a band 11 years, and we want to do it for another 10, if not 20 years, if possible, you know, as long as people show up.
And you mentioned the break there, you know, I think it was your first hiatus in something like 10 years. And
It wasn't that long, but
Yeah.
and during that time, you obviously, Hilary, you released a gospel album.
Yes.
And Charles, you released The Driver. When you go for so long, such a tight schedule, and every day's mapped out, you probably look at a calendar and you know what you're doing every day for the next year. What's it like to just stop?
You know, it was nice Hillary has literally been talking about wanting to do a record with her family since we started as a band. She said, at some point in my life, I want to do this, because that's how she learned how to sing harmonies, and that's who taught her music. And for her to be able to kind of do that and fulfill that dream, you know, and it not be at the expense of, like, you know, the band breaking up. It was like, no, she really wants to do this. This is and she can have that, you know, Christian career with her family and be able to do this, and we can go do this. We can do side projects. We can go produce a record if we want. We can write with other artists. And I don't know, I think it only makes us stronger when we get back together, because it's like you get all these little artistic itches out, you know.
And they all kind of can live alongside each other. And we said from the very beginning as a band, like, we're all creative artists coming together to form this trio. And for us to not be able to nurture that individual creativity in our own ways, you know, because we gave ourselves the freedom to do that, gave each other the freedom to do that, I know we came back into making Heartbreak so much better versions of ourselves, for the fans, for the recording process, the writing process, all of it. It really had such an incredible positive impact on all of it.
And the album was produced by Busby, and I mean, you look at what he's done lately for Maren Morris, Keith Urban, Lauren Elena. I know he worked with you guys on 747. You know, in the past he would have maybe been more associated with pop acts. Do you think, because he is country's sort of go-to guy at the minute, do you think that's an example of, again, how much the genre has shifted?
Yeah, to a point. You know, I will say, if you listen to what he does, though, he tailors his production style to what the artist, I think, needs. You know, I mean, he's done a lot of stuff with, like, Pink, and of course that sounds a lot different than what, you know, he's doing with us. And I do think that's what I like about him, is he's able to kind of preserve what he believes is the cool of the artist. And but we've said it when we started. I mean, I remember when we put Love Don't Live Here out, and that was our first single. I said, this is pretty much a Southern rock and roll song, you know, and I was very curious, you know, how we would fit into the genre, what the fans would think. And it just, you know, the genre has just changed so much. And I think it's because there is a need for, you know, just bands, you know, and especially on pop music. And, you know, it's much more beat driven and single solo artist driven stuff, that it's like this, to me, this genre has opened up, a voice, I guess, for all the, traditional country still, but also for kind of, bands like us that were just as much influenced by Tim McGraw as we were, Led Zeppelin and Pearl Jam and, Allman Brothers and, Tom Petty. I said it the other day, when they said, what's Tom Petty's influence? I would say that artists like Aldean and, Eric Church and ourselves would probably say that Tom Petty was as much, if not more of an influence than, like Hank Williams was for us, because that's what we grew up on. Yeah. We grew up on Tim McGraw and Kenny Chesney and guys like that.
I just want to mention Need You Now, because obviously you look at what that song has done for country music, not only you guys as a band. I mean, I was saying to Kelsey there, over here in Europe in the 90s, Shania and Garth kind of put a foot in the door. And then with Need You Now and the TV show Nashville, you guys just kicked the door in.
Oh, gosh.
And
thank you.
I mean, you look at the records it broke, the extreme radio play. Is it true it was written very fast?
Yes. It was the second song we wrote that day.
Wow.
We had started one with Josh Keir, our co-writer, and finished it. And then it was like not even lunchtime, And so Charles grabbed the guitar and started playing the chord progression and some of the lyric and the verse and into the pre-chorus that he had kind of had as a voice memo in his phone, and it was off to the races. We wrote it so quickly. I mean, it was just one of those songs too that when we wrote it, we didn't really know what we had. It was truly the last song that we listened to when we met with our label, with the A&R department, before we went in to record. And Charles, thank God, was like, well, let me just play you this before we get out of here. This is literally the last one in the pile, and it might suck, I mean, and so then we played it for them, and they encouraged us. They said, just get in. I mean, it needs work, but get in and see what you can do. And our producer, Paul Worley, at the time, we got into the studio, and it just took on this whole new life. And we're just so grateful, because obviously that's the song that changed it all.
The CountryLine Songwriter Series with Lady A.
More episodes from this series are available on the CountryLine app and website, or just search for the CountryLine Songwriter Series wherever you normally get your podcasts.